Hi everyone, my name is Goldie Kalahan, and this is my Fire Summit presentation. So my research was about virtual reality field trips. So a little bit about who I am. My name is Goldie Callahan. I'm currently a 5th and 6th grade language arts and social studies teacher in Knott County, and I teach at Beaver Creek Elementary. Not only am I a teacher of the 5th and 6th grade students at my school, but I'm also the mother of one of these students. Technology and field trips. During the recent COVID-19 pandemic, many school systems are no longer allowing students to take field trips. Field trips have been used to help reinforce students' learning. My question was, can virtual field trips help reinforce students' learning? Is there a way that we can use virtual reality to help replace those valuable field trips? How has this affected my students? So during the pandemic, the students at Beaver Creek Elementary have not been able to experience field trips. I have noticed that with my students personally not having this connection to the visuals available, that the students do not seem to be retaining the information that they once did. So how can I help my students? I recently learned part of Nearpod, that there's part of Nearpod that does virtual reality field trips. They also do this like with different lessons, so it's not only places, but they also do have virtual lessons for things such as English and many other areas. And I had no idea that this was a possibility until I started my research. To make virtual field trips a possibility for my students, I needed 2 Oculus headsets and my current free subscription to Nearpod. I needed to purchase virtual reality headsets, a storage case to protect them, and charging stands to ensure that the headsets were charged when my students were ready to use them. I implemented the study with my 5th and 6th grade students. In addition to Nearpod, I also found out throughout the course of all of the research that YouTube also had some virtual reality field trips too that really came in handy, and my students really liked them. My students got to experience the Boston Tea Party in the Boston Harbor. They really enjoyed it. So I gave a pre-assessment about the topic, and then I covered the lesson normally, how I would, with the activities and the lectures. And I hate saying the word lecture because it's more of conversation that we were using instead of just straight up lectures. And then I would give the students the assessment on the delivered lesson that I had given. And then after the assessment, I would let them experience the virtual lesson. After the virtual lesson, students would take the same assessment as before. Ideally, this would happen in the same day, if not possible soon after, within as close as proximity as possible. I did find that this was a hard task to follow by completing it, finishing, giving the test and then the virtual lesson and then another test. And I also kind of found like it made my students feel like I was testing them to death. So I would often break it up into 2 days. This study happened during the 2021-2022 school year, and I'm presenting my study now at the Fall Fire Summit and at the Spring Summit, but the study occurred between the Fall and the Spring Summit. The study will occur during the normal school day. I don't know about you guys, but my students are ready to go home at the end of the day and not voluntarily stay after school. So, this did change a little. I had originally said the pre-assessment, and the post-assessment, um, both post-assessments. I just switched it to the post-assessments, and used the pre-assessment more to see what my students had already knew prior to. The majority of the students can answer at least one additional question correctly or in greater depth. And that is for those open response, short answer questions. And I consider this study a success. So my students, they went to several different locations and different virtual lessons throughout the course of the last few months. The next two slides are going to show you some information based um, off of these trips. And you will notice I will use the pre-trip assessment and the post-trip assessment. So if you notice here, for the most part, the students did make gains. Overall, the average score increase went from 12 out of 15 questions to 14 out of 14. If you do notice, though, there are several students here who had this knowledge pretty well already under wraps. They had it there, they knew it, and then they kept it. But if you see here, I had a student here gain 1 here and 1 there. It's a big jump here, which was quite pleasing actually to see that student learned in that manner in the same way for this student here. On the second set of data points that I have here, you will notice that this student I don't know if they were having a bad day or if it just wasn't their cup of tea or if they just really didn't get it, that they had received 8 out of 15 and 8 out of 15. Again, I took the time, I went back, I retaught, I gave those students a mini lesson to help expand their knowledge and to get them to that 80% that I like to see in my classroom for mastery. And I believe there was one other student like that. And again, that same process would have happened over the course of time. You will notice that this did not show as big as gains as the first set of data, but I went from 2 out of 15 to 13 out of 15. So still, again, the average was at least 1 point of gain. When I was setting a success criteria for this study, I stated that if one student had 1 point of gain, I would consider this study a success. So I really do think that it was a success and it was an awesome way to bring technology into the classroom. As the study progressed, I noticed that overall the class average was at least 1 point in growth. On some occasions, students did not have any growth after the field trip. These students, as I had mentioned earlier, did receive an additional mini lesson to help them overall with that topic to reach that mastery point of 80%. Overall, this study was a success and even more than I thought and expected from the start of the study. So my students really got it. They're more of that hands-on going, doing to help remember. Even though this data collection is over, keep going on, letting them take other trips, using it as a PBI reward system within my classroom, and the students love it. I mean, they're like, "Can we have the Oculuses again, Miss Kalahan?" And I'm like, well, let's get our stuff going. If you have questions or feedback that you would like to share with me, as always, please reach out to me by email. My email is goldie.callahan@knott.kyschools.us. I hope you have enjoyed my data collection and my study. Please reach out to me if you have any further questions. Again, thank you so much.